Hello, dear viewers. Namaskar. Welcome to Moksha Media. You are with Moksha Hirevat. Most of you have not heard the name of Maadara Channayya. He was a Sharana. He was belonged to untouchable community. He was born and bred in the 12th century AD in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, India. He was a Sharana by nature. He lived in Kanchi in Tamil Nadu. His occupation was to tend the royal horses. He was in the kingdom of Karikalachola, a famous and great king of Tamil Nadu at that time. Of course, Maadara Channayya belonged to an untouchability community. But his thoughts and perceptions were very different from others. He was a devotee of Shiva, but he did not expose his devotion to Shiva. He was a secret devotee. And anyhow, he was famous for his feeding of Shiva with gruel. At the same time, he made footwears for Sharanas only. We don't have that much of information regarding his biography. Only this sort of life sketch we have, and that is what I told you. He was against caste. He was against pollution. He stood for realization. He stood for soul and Shiva. His 10 vachanas are found till this time, and his signature is, shortly to say, Nijatma Rama. Of course, he wanted to show his thoughts and feelings and emotions in his vachanas. I have already told you he was a Sharana by nature. But his understanding of the situation and the society is very simple and touching and full of humanity. If we go through his vachanas, we come to know what sort of man he was, what sort of ideas and thoughts he had. in order to show his thoughts and feelings, I would like to read two of his vachanas. Those vachanas are simple. They are, if words and actions are formed, there is no pollution of race or birth. If words and actions are formed, there is no pollution of race or birth. If words are good and the action worse, that is pollution without liberation. That is pollution without liberation. Can anyone be said to be highborn? Can anyone be said to be highborn if one is thieving and engaged with others' wives? If one is thieving and engaged with others' wives, righteousness is caste, unrighteousness is pollution. Righteousness is caste and unrighteousness is pollution. This duality should be understood and known. This duality should be understood and known. Don't be a mere servant to all Caesars and lower millstone. No one is Atma Rama. Of course, in this vachana, he makes a difference between the pollution and caste, race or birth. He says the real pollution is of duality. If one says and does another thing, there we can see the duality. If we make difference between castes, that shows the pollution. So, and if his action is one thing and words are other things, then there is a pollution. Whatever is said should be brought into practice. Whatever is practiced should be said in words. That means there is no two opinions regarding action and words. There is no difference between action and words. Action should be firm and his words also should be firm. And if he does it, there is no pollution. There is no question of caste or birth or race. But once words are good, but the action is worse, and we can say there is a pollution. It is not only a simple pollution, it is a pollution without liberation. Liberation is important in the life of a man, you know. That moksha is very important in the life of a man, you know. Man can't live without liberation. But if he uses good words, but his action is worse, then there is pollution without liberation. A person doesn't become a highborn if he thieves and engages with others' wives. That is here, morality regarding the individual life is very important. So, righteousness is caste, unrighteousness is pollution. He says, what is caste? Righteousness is caste and unrighteousness is pollution. Real caste is righteousness. If you are right, then that itself is a good caste. That itself is a high-born. That itself is a of good morality. But if it is unrighteousness, and we can say it is a pollution. So here, this duality between words and action should be understood. And one should know the reality. And for this, one should not become a servant to all seizures and lower millstones. No Nijatma Rama. So that Nijatma Rama is the witness for this. Of course, here it is very simple. Then another one. Difference only in blood, bones, marrow and body juices. Difference only in passions and obsessions. Difference only in different occupations. Difference only between what appears and the soul that knows. Whatever the caste, one who knows attains the thing. If one forgets, one becomes related to Maya and pollution. Don't be a mere servant to all seizures and lower millstone. No Nijatma Rama. So of course, there is a difference. That individual difference is there. It is there in blood, it is there in bones, it is there in marrow, and it is there in body juices. Differences are there only in passions and obsessions. Differences only in different occupations. Occupations may be different, but the soul is same. Difference only between what appears and what the soul that knows. There is a difference in appearance, but not in soul. Whatever be the caste, one should know one thing. That is, if one forgets that thing is related to Maya and pollution, if he realizes that thing without being a mere servant to all seizures and lower stones, one becomes a Sharana in the strict sense. And for this, that Nijatma Rama is the witness. So like this, he makes the difference not between the caste, but between the appearances. So here, reality, that is labeling a person caste by birth, is not a good practice. But if he labels it by his actions and words, it would become a good one. So he directly rejects the caste, race and other things. But he simply says what is the real one, what is the good one, what ennobles the human beings, etc., etc., and how one becomes, how one devotes to God, that is Shiva, and how he becomes an ennobled one. That is what he utters in his vachanas. Of course, vachanas are simple and anyone can understand them. Even this vachana is written in the language of Tamil at that time. It does not make any difference of understanding the reality of humanity between the languages. Of course, the 12th century Sharanath movement spreads to all the parts of the India in particular and world in general. That is why we can see such Sharanas in all the parts of India and the world in one form or other forms. And this Maadara Channayya is one of them. That is, the 12th century AD Sharana Chalavali brought together all the castes. It didn't care for the caste and gender, but it cares for its realization. Knowing is realizing. Know thyself. That itself is realization. We say Arive Guru in Kannada. That is, if you realize, you will become a Guru. If you don't realize, you should not become a Guru. That realization is a Guru and Guru is a realization. Here Guru stands for realization. So here that Maadara Channayya tells of that realization. That itself is a knowing thyself is a kind of unpolluting the environment. Knowing thyself is coming out of the caste related feelings and passions and thoughts. So here the soul, the humanity is important, but not the caste, not the differences among human beings, etc. etc. So like this, Maadara Channayya expressed his feelings and thoughts in his vachanas. Subscribe and share it, and see you in the next episode. Namaskar. Thank you.